Brosplay! I was hoping his mouth would get bigger.
No, he just kind of pants. Where am I going? Darkwood Disturbance.
Awkward.
Darkwood Disturbance.
I don't like fast travel in games. It is stupid and it's fucking lame. Sorry to anyone without arms.
So what?
That's what lame means.
Oh, fuck.
Isn't it?
Well, lame means, actually, it might, but I thought it just meant missing a limb.
Also sorry to anyone offended there.
So, but hang on. You don't like any fast traveling games?
It can work.
But in general, no?
This game is not that big, though. It's not big enough to really need it. But I guess
it's the loading screens. That's why it would really fucking suck to have to walk across the world.
Right, it's probably why they did it. But like, I guess teleporting from your hub there is a pretty good idea because it's kind of sort of like treating them like missions. But
well, and also you can only teleport to those Cullis gates or recall to where you were initially. So the idea is that if you go back to the guild and then just recall to where you were, it's kind of like the recall scroll in Dark Alliance. But yeah, I don't think it would be all that practical. It would make more sense if you just had to walk into the gate at the guild rather than just doing this thing.
Right.
It would make more sense. I think you should actually have to go to a designated location. I would agree with that.
I've just been playing a lot of Red Dead 2, where you spend...
You're really into that, eh?
I fucking love it. Actually, I put it down for like a week because I've just been working on a video. And I kind of want... I don't want to like... I always overdo it with open world games. I just play them till death, and then I just don't ever want to touch them again. Like, I still can't pick up Breath of the Wild again, and I want to. It's a great game. Just played so much of it that, like, as soon as I go back to it, I'm like, yeah, I remember this. Like, yeah, no.
I'm the same with Fallout 3 and Oblivion. And it's honestly one of the reasons that I'm not even that interested to bring it to the channel is because I just feel like... I was like, I don't even know what the point is because I already have done all of these things. Fuck out of my way. No, it's my turn.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the Sword and the Stone.
Well, the reason why I bring up Red Dead 2 is that what this game was to us in its time is what Red Dead is to me now. Like Red Dead 2. The way that everything is the interactability, the events that happen.
Okay, you've got about 2 seconds.
All of the various things that you can do that interact with other things. Like, one time I found a prisoner and he was like, "You gotta help me." So I shot his shackles off and let him go. And it was like, cool. I got like I don't know, dishonor points or whatever you want to call them. And then one time I saw a guy being a prisoner being transferred by the sheriff, and I freed him. He told me about a thing I could get, and then I fucking hogtied him and fucking brought him back to the sheriff. And the game lets you do all of those things without stopping you, without telling you what it's gonna do. It's fucking awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the lack of them getting in your way. Sorry, something's weird here. I swear I had... Oh, am I only at level 6 on all those things? I thought it was level 7. Okay. No, that would...
Oh, you can't grab it?
Yeah, no, I cannot grab it. This is really awkward.
You just killed a guy.
Well, yeah, he was in my way.
Father, deceased. Cause of death, got in my way.
Yeah, I think I want to go to Barrows Field. One thing that makes no sense is these are not listed in the order you go to them, nor are they listed alphabetically. So who the fuck came up with this order?
The names all seem like a Bare Naked Lady song. It's like, Barrow Fields, not holding, but on a day.
In the Barrows Fields.
Yeah, that's Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah, that's way more Bare Naked Ladies.
No, mine was. What song were you doing?
If I had $1 million.
Darkwood, where is here?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, where is here right now? That was a good joke.
Yeah, it was good enough.
All these look like organs. These maps.
Kinda.
They all just look like intestines, like wrapping around each other.
Well, I was gonna say more like reproductive organs, but you do you, brother.
There's a whole bit scene in Letterkenny where they talk about the like the parts of the male anatomy, but like scientifically. It kind of starts off real simple, where it's like, you know, like I heard this guy like tore his nutsack, and he's like the scrotal sac. Are you talking about? And like so eventually it's just like, well, I'd be more concerned about seeing my vas deferens than I would my scrotal sac. It's like it just keeps going, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a joke about how about how good sex education is in Canada, or if it's just a dumb
Weird joke.
scene.
I don't think we have particularly effective sex education. Like, not any more effective than anywhere else. I don't think. I do know that they're starting to teach sex education younger and younger in Canada, which is always a weird line. You know, where is that line of, you're a mage, why are you hitting people with your staff? Sorry, I like to talk to the Hobbs.
You know, Billy Talent was asking the same question.
You're a mage, why are you hitting people with your staff?
Where is the line? Where is the line?
Didn't they say it's like Somewhere Lost in Time or something?
That's a different song, actually. What is that song? That's 4. That's Billy Talent 4.
Yeah, they have 5 now.
Show me the way. Show.
I love that your way of impersonating him is to be as whiny as is at all possible.
Man, I've been listening on the same topic. I've been listening to. Well, this is not the same topic. It's a different episode. When I was talking about your iPod, Billy Talent is on there too, and man, is that first album ever rocking.
Oh man, it's good. Doesn't that just bring you back, man?
Just your interpretation of those notes is so far off from
so
what
far
mine
off.
is.
Oh yeah.
And apparently I've been told that you hear in music what, like, the pitch of your voice is what you hear in music. So if you speak lower, you will hear the bass and the drums and the kick more than anything else.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've been told. By a fairly musical guy, but
unusual. By a musical guy.
Yeah, he was in musical theater for a while. So.
Oh, okay. So he's probably relatively informed, at least compared to us.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly knows what the line is.
Is it Somewhere Else in Time?
So I gave. Yeah, we're not going back to Mercenaries, which is I'm pretty sure where I made fun of Billy Talent 4, right?
You kind of made fun of Billy Talent 4 and 5.
Oh no, it was Jack 2. Well, we'll bring it up back then anyway. But 4 is actually pretty good. I think it's actually a pretty good album. It just has a couple songs that I felt like were a little like lower.
Call them out.
Lower tier.
Which ones?
Probably the worst one on that album is When Love Was Still Around.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it's kind of preachy. It's kind of like, it's just like, don't do crimes, don't do crimes, and if you do the time. It's like, yes, crimes are bad. Like, a choice can change your life is one of the lines. And it's like, yeah, who are you talking to?
That is a very good point. I never really read too much into that, but that is kind of unusual.
It just kind of sounds like the song you would write for, like, troubled teens. Like, you're like trying to, you know, it's like they've been arrested once and they get a second chance and they have to go through this like this whole thing about not doing crimes and shit, and you just play them that fucking song and it's just like, a choice can change your life.
Yeah, okay, maybe I see that.
This is a personal thing, but I don't really like songs that put things too literally. Like when you say exactly what you are meaning in a song too much, I find it like takes away from the art form. I enjoy it when it is kind of shrouded in what you have to say, so that things that flow and it feels
you should have to work a little bit.
Like you have to work a little. Yeah, exactly. Right. I don't have any good examples, but like
I was actually gonna say that a second ago before you did.
Running Across the Tracks. Right. That song, first of all, feels like it pulled out right from BT2. Like, it feels like they didn't have time to put it in the second album, and they just finally finished it in the fourth. It is so classic Billy Talent. But that song, like Running Across the Tracks, is not literally about running across train tracks. It's like a statement. It's an analogy or whatever you want to call it, right?
I think an analogy or a metaphor.
Or a
That's
metaphor,
the best
right.
way to put it.
For whatever, running away or something. I don't know what it is.
My guess, running across the tracks would be like fraternizing with people you're not supposed to. That's just
I'm pulling the blindfold.
Basic assumption.
So those are all like you got to work to understand what he's talking about. Which reminds me, I've also been listening.
Oh my god.
Next up on Derek's iPod, System of a Down, which I never listened to as full albums until your iPod. So thank you for that.
No problem.
It was really great to get those divisions and see their progression as a band. I think their first album was one of my favorites because it's so consistent. There's like very little change ups.
Is that Mesmerize?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just called System of a Down.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It's got like chicken soup, sweet pea.
Chicken
It might even have
soup.
war on it. But like it's so like consistent and like heavy. Chicken stew.
I don't even know if I know that one though.
You probably do.
Probably, yeah.
But like they Cigarro, I think is a pretty good example of like people not really getting what your song is about. I mean, I'm not saying that people like that because I didn't get it until recently that nobody does or anything, but I think a large majority of people who quote Cigarro think that it's actually just a silly song about saying that their dick is much bigger than yours, right?
Oh yeah.
And I looked into the lyrics, and the whole song is about like shadowy figures that control the world through large sums of money. Have you ever read the chorus?
No.
He says, "Cool, in denial, we're just cruel regulators smoking cigar."
Oh,
And then
man.
they say, we are the regulators that deregulate, the animators that deanimate. Isn't that interesting?
That is really kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah. So my dick is much bigger than yours is a way of saying that all of this controlling the world, and you know, like causing people to fight each other and kill each other and maximizing profits at human suffering is all just a big dick measuring contest.
Man, that's one thing I really like about System is that their music is great. It's engaging. It feels good. But there's also something in there if you actually care to go and hear. Well, you kind of have to read what he's saying sometimes. There's like no real way to decipher it on your own.
I've been listening to it a lot, and I've been picking up a lot of things. Like I never heard the line, "Why do they always send the poor?" I had no idea what he was saying. I heard
why
like
do they always send the poor?
Yeah.
I've never questioned that.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I always thought it was like, why do they always sit in the porch? Is like how I heard it in high school.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what I was operating on too.
So like for years, I've been thinking that System was just this silly band that like to do weird things with their voices, but like everything is about getting you to like listen and pay attention to what they're saying, and they're teaching you ideas without you even like hearing it because you're so into like how weird the music is.
Wow.
And they have such an excellent understanding of music that they can make the music hard to listen to. Like there's parts of songs where the flow is terrible, and it makes the flow next, like the second part, the flow really good, and then back to that weird flow, and then really good. And I think that's supposed to be contrast.
You don't have any health potions? Fuck you. I don't have a ton of recent experience with them. Most of what I'm remembering is from high school, like when we used to actually listen to them. But I have a lot more experience with Surge, with his solo stuff. And one thing that I've definitely noticed is he really likes to find good sounding phrases. Like one thing he says in one of his songs is the hungry hunger further. And it took a really long time to figure out that he wasn't saying the hungry fervor. And when I finally figured out what he was saying, it suddenly just brings this extra level to it. And that's one of the things that separates songs which are good on the first listen and songs which have lastability. Because in my opinion, those two things are mutually exclusive.
Right.
Very, very few times do I hear a song and go, that's fucking awesome. And then for the next 20 listens, I still believe it. Usually you listen to it and you're like, yeah, that song's pretty good. And then you hear it again and you're like, man, that song's really good. I've been listening to Greta Van Fleet.
I've never heard of that.
Yes, you have. Greta Van Fleet sounds like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
You know who they are.
Yeah, okay.
And there's this one song I didn't really like. It's called Flower Power. And the name kind of turned me off to begin with. And after a while, I started to really like that song. And it's because my favorite song on the album comes right before Flower Power. So I put on my favorite song. And then as soon as it's over, Flower Power plays. So what happens is every time I'm listening to their album, I'm hearing Flower Power. So it's like it's growing and I'm hearing the words. And now I actually really like it. Whereas like the one that's my favorite, still pretty good, but sometimes I don't want to start on it anymore. So it's just kind of interesting that you do have to sort of choose. Do you want to have lastability or do you want to have instant gratification?
I found that songs I like the least at the beginning often end up being my favorite in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's because they're complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
They require a lot of understanding. Brockhampton, for example. The amount of songs that I've had to like adjust to, and it took me many listens to actually start liking it, and I skipped it like every time I listened to it until it eventually was like, oh, this is really good. And I'm humming it, like thinking that I don't like it, and then humming it later, and I'm like, oh, listen to that again. And suddenly it's like a completely different experience.
Well, when they're so technical, it sometimes is hard to absorb why they're great the first time around.
You and I listened to my favorite song from their Iridescent album when it was brand new. Like, it hadn't even come out, actually. They played it on Fallon? Was it Fallon?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Tanya. And at the end, you and I were like, huh. And I was like, that wasn't really what I expected. And then after listening to the whole album, it's my favorite fucking song on the whole thing. And it's because it's complicated. And it requires a lot of... it requires you to really want to sit and listen. It doesn't grab you. It doesn't pull you in. It expects you to like sit and listen and understand what this is all about and be ready to open your heart.
That's something I really like about Tea Party. The Tea Party album we listened to as kids was Triptych. That's the one that our dad had. And it has a lot of really grabby music in it, stuff that really jumps out at you. Like Touch.
Yes.
Na, 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 na. And
don't try to fake it.
It sucks you in because it has this really pleasing sound. But I just find that when I'm listening to it now with more time, my favorite album is Edges of Twilight.
Me too.
Which is so different and so somber by comparison. And every song is slow, but that's what makes the build so much more important. Every song starts slow.
There's one of their songs, it's the only Tea Party song on the radio, and it kind of bugs me because it's definitely not... Oh, it's Temptation.
Oh, and it's not even a good representation of them.
No, and it conforms to my idea about the radio. Either you make it very understandable to the point where people can basically repeat the chorus the first time they listen to the song, or you find a really great sounding chorus. So for them, it's temptation, and people love that. They have no fucking idea what he's saying, but they love that sound that he makes, so it's good.
Well, that's part of what made Aerosmith so great, is that his voice was more of an instrument than a voice.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right, and it added more character than it did lyric. One of their songs I think that really should be on the radio, or at least, I don't know, I really like it, is on their Seven Circles album. They have a song called One Step Closer Away, and it has all the right elements. It has a really simple chorus that's interesting, but the verses are well put together, which is why it's not on the radio.
Right.
Because the chorus is great, but then people get to the verses and they go, I don't want to remember all this shit. I would really much rather... Ooh, look what you made me do.
Ugh.
I would rather that because that's simple. It's one line.
Have you heard Avril Lavigne's Head Above Water song?
Is it new? Then no. Sorry.
Oh my God.
I got a little uppity on that one.
It's so good.
I believe it. Well, you remember...
couldn't believe how bad it is.
You remember when she first sort of hit the airwaves, right?
You mean like original?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who you are, but That Avril Lavigne?
Yeah.
Skater Boy?
Skater Boy. Yes,
Yeah.
that era. It was an era in which it seemed like, all right, this girl is gonna try and break the trend. And the trend just fucking broke her down piece by
I think
piece.
she just realized that like the skater chick thing wasn't gonna make a lot of money and it was gonna be hard.
But see, that's not the point. She didn't have to, like, yes, sure, this skater boy thing, like, she could change her image or whatever. But there's a difference between that and the amount of product placement in the What the Hell video.
Yeah, that is so funny.
Filming that must have been really weird for her.
That song, though, man, it promotes really bad behavior. It's like, I love the idea that she wants to break free and do some wild and crazy shit, but she cheats on her boyfriend and basically tells him to, like, it's like, fuck you.
Doesn't she cheat on with him,
that's
though?
Not, whatever. It starts with, you say, I'm messing with you when I kiss your friends or something like that. And
oh, yeah.
It's like, sorry.
Well, she also steals a taxi.
What?
She just straight up steals a car.
I'm not talking about the music video. I'm talking about the song. Like, she actually is saying in the song that, like, I'm celebrating cheating on you. That's me. That's me breaking bad. Is I'm doing a shitty thing to somebody, not going wild and crazy, and then like not going into my job and like stealing a taxi. All of that shit is like, you know, it's like whatever. But like, I'm not. I'm an infidelis young lady, and it's cool because I'm expressing myself. Like, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's you say that I'm messing with your head.
Yeah.
All cause I was making out with your friend. Yeah, you're kind of a bitch. Did you know that?
Actually, she says that it's her going, yeah. So it's like, is that musical or is that you saying yeah? 'Cause it kind of sounds like you're saying yeah. As in, yes, I'm fucking with you. And in the music video, he wakes up, and then she's like, goes in for a kiss, but then she moves away, and then she gets up and leaves. And it's like, so you're fucking with this guy, and that's cool. This is cool behavior.
Yeah. So, what's this new song called?
Well, actually, we're gonna talk about it the next time
All right.
on Brosplay.